Wait, I fucking forget. Oh, I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Cass.
And this is Podclass. Wait, no, you're supposed to say Podclass.
And this is Podclass.
With Sophie.
And Cass.
That's how it's gonna stay. We're not doing that shit again anyways. Y'all, we have been gone for like a month. Which is why I forgot how our thing even went. And you know, shit happens, life happens. Cass has been going through shit. I've been going through shit. Like,
it's life, okay? And until I get paid for this, I don't gotta explain nothing to you. No, I'm kidding.
Y'all.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, going through stuff. It was Sophie's birthday. Happy birthday,
oh,
Sophie.
Thank you. I'm 25.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, we're here and we're blonde and 25.
Yes, that's what happens naturally.
Naturally, I woke up blonde and 25 on Monday, but yeah.
Yeah. But nice, good birthday.
Everything was fine. And actually, I want to talk about something. Well, it's like literally related to what we're going to talk about, which is like COVID and going out and blah blah blah. So my birthday was on Monday, but I went out last weekend. And here in Spain, like restrictions are still a thing, okay? Because not everyone is vaccinated here. Like I haven't gotten vaccinated still. They're just rolling slower. So, but they opened like pubs and bars and stuff, right? Supposedly and technically, you're able to go out if you know, at the place where you're going, like for example, you can't go to a club and dance. There's no dancing unless they have like an outdoor dancing space, right?
Okay.
This place didn't have an outdoor dancing space. So I told a lady, I'm like, oh, can me and my friend come in, because we had gotten reservations for outside, but it was already like late, so we were bored. So they have 2 floors. So we walk in and like the bottom floor is completely dead, but the bathrooms are upstairs. So I told my friend Courtney, shout out to Courtney. I told him, like, bro, I'm going to go upstairs to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I walk upstairs. Corona where? Corona where? Because no one was wearing a mask. That shit was packed, like packed. Okay. And mind you, again, here in Spain, vaccines are rolling slow. Most young people, unless you have like a specific job that requires for you to be vaccinated, like these people are not vaccinated. So I got the worst anxiety. Like a part of me, like Courtney's vaccinated, so he was like, bro, let's go upstairs. And I'm like, listen, dude,
how did he get vaccinated?
because he works that's a good question. Why is he vaccinated? I mean, and not because he works at a school.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing. Because I work from home, I haven't been able to get my vaccine.
Yeah.
So like obviously he was like, bro, let's go upstairs, whatever. And I was like, I'm like, dude, I'm like so anxious right now. Like I don't want to be surrounded by that much people, you know? And then today, finally we can go outdoors and not wear a mask as long as you're able to keep like the distance. But I don't know, even so, like I was telling my mom, like even so, like I guess because I don't know if I'm going to feel differently after I get vaccinated, but because I'm not vaccinated, I'm not like very convinced about like about being close to people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know about that yet.
Yeah. I don't think so. Coming from a vaxxed person. No, I mean, I don't think that like it really makes a difference. I mean, it's different here in Jersey. So we're kind of more open because people are getting vaccinated. There's no restrictions on like who can get vaccinated. You just have to go. And first of all, let me just talk about my vaccination experience. It was so weird. It was weird. Moderna.
Okay, my mom got Moderna
because you know, yo te con la moda.
Yeah, la Moderna. Anyways.
Yeah, but I got that one, and like, I mean, the side effects were like whatever. Like the first day I was just like headache, a little tired, and then like the second time I got it, it was like actually kind of bad. Like I was like, yo, I'm not doing shit today. So yeah, that's that. But in terms of like actually going, right? So it was at like a old Kmart. Because, okay, so I don't know if you know, but Kmarts are closing, right? You know Kmart?
What?
Yeah, they're closing like everywhere. They're like
I
out
didn't
of
know that.
business.
I did not.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't think I've ever shopped at Kmart, to be fair. Like, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like Kmart's like, you know, like another Walmart in a way, you know, it's a
Yeah.
mart. So it was it was at a closed Kmart, and that shit was weird. Like that shit was like mad, like post
Like creepy.
apocalyptic type shit. Yeah, because it was just an empty ass big ass store, and you just like follow these rows and you like go and like whatever. But it was just really weird. But aside from that, here in Jersey, like they lifted the mask restriction, but it's like up to the businesses. So it's weird though, because like some businesses will be like, oh, you don't have to wear your mask. But then you'll go into places and then you'll see people with some masks and people without. So it's like you don't know, like, okay, should I wear it? Should I not wear it? I'm vaccinated. Like, what does that even mean? Like, should I even have to? And of course, there's no way to tell, like, if you're vaccinated, unless like you have like some kind of proof. Which in New York, me and my friends had gone out to a club, and for you to go in, you need to show vaccination.
What? What? Like, what times are we living in? Like, do you got your ID? Crazy? Yeah. How about your vaccination card?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
You know what I heard? Now, this is what I heard. Okay. I heard, you know, Miami, bro, and there was stupid shit that they do. Yeah. I heard that they were like falsifying the freaking vaccination cards so that people could travel. I'm not kidding. There's a store, you were saying, a store in Calle Ocho. I heard it was in Little Havana. I'm not gonna get into details because I don't really know, but I wouldn't like this. But then I was telling my mom, this is like a stupid question, but like, is it as serious as getting a fake ID? Like, would you get like as in trouble? Or like, I think it's more serious. Yeah, I think this is more serious because I'm like, it's public safety.
Yeah, like you're not putting anybody else in harm really if you're just faking your ID. But
I mean, unless like
unless yourself
fraud or something.
Well, that's different. Like if you're just trying to get into a club because you're like underage, then whatever. Like you're just, I guess, hurting yourself. But if you're trying to take someone else's identity or something, that's a problem.
No, that's what I'm saying. But then like with the whole vaccine thing, like that's the thing. I'm like, that's like a public safety thing, you know? Because like for example, Spain opened to Americans, but you have to show proof of vaccination. Like you have to be fully vaccinated.
I'll see you next month, bitch. No, I'm kidding.
You can come. I already told Gala. Gala was like, bitch, what? I was like, yeah, like you can come, but you have to be vaccinated, which makes total sense, you know? So, you know, there's a lot of people who are against the vaccine because they don't trust it, whatever, to each their own. Yeah, but then that's the thing. Like these people are like, fuck, like I also want to travel and I also want to do these things, but now there's this requirement that I don't meet. So it's like we're in a new world.
I know.
We're in a new world.
Weird.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know, because this is the thing. Even like now, summer, right? Like vacation is coming. Like my family and I were planning to do a trip, and we're going somewhere where there's a lot of like tourists from everywhere. Yeah. And everyone in my family is vaccinated except for me, bro. And I'm like, honestly, this is some bullshit because what the fuck? Like, what? Like, everyone is here, like, oh, we're going on vacation, and then I'm here, like, yeah, I want to go on vacation, but at the same time, I'm a little bit like, is it safe for me to go on vacation? Like, because also, you know how they have that variant, the British variant going on. Oh. They had, the UK.
That shit has an accent. No.
It's stupid. COVID-19. No, but
that's the variant.
Yeah, like the thing is, you know, I'm pretty sure that the UK went on lockdown again, like a month ago. Yeah, because of the variant. Because the thing is, what they were saying was that they weren't sure if the vaccines that we have now can work for that type of COVID.
Yeah.
So
well, they wanted to separate it from the EU so they could stay separate over there by themselves.
Yeah, but they love Spain though for vacation. That's why I'm like, y'all need to relax. And then, you know, I'm not gonna get into like our government or whatever, but like they love having people over. Let's just put it that way. They just love having people over because that's what brings money into this country, and that's a reality.
So funny. It is. It's so true. You'll be like, all right, you guys came, so I guess we gotta support you. That's really how it be out there.
Literally, like
that's really how it be out there.
Dude, well, I'm not gonna get into it. I was gonna say like the whole thing that happened with Morocco. Not gonna get into it because that's exactly it.
That's a whole separate.
Try to support people, and then like we got in trouble for it. But yeah, so anxiety and freaking corona. I am very grateful. I was thinking about it today. I'm like, damn, no one in my family, well, actually my cousin had COVID, but he was fine. Like he didn't have any symptoms or anything. So I'm like, I'm really grateful, you know, that given like the numbers and everything, that my family and my friends, everyone has been fine. I do know of people who have gotten sick, but thankfully, you know, everyone survived. And I'm thinking, damn, like now the problem isn't you know, there's still a virus, but I feel like the problem isn't so much the virus, but what's coming after it. You know, a lot of people are unemployed. Travel restrictions are still a thing. Anxiety. A lot of people have relapsed in terms of like drug consumption, and numbers of suicide have gone up a lot because of anxiety and depression. And I feel like those things, they don't come out in the news as much just because like I guess they don't want to really shine light, but like it is an issue.
Yeah. I mean, so one thing that we want to like note, we weren't able to really find much research on like post-pandemic stuff because we're still post-pandemic, like it's like happening now, so there's not a lot to show for it. But what Sophie found, so what she's found is that like honestly, you know, mental illnesses are just on the rise practically, like because of what's going on. Like she said, anxiety and stuff. And I think that like it's been quite some time that we've been in this whole situation, so it's our new normal in a way. But like sometimes I sit back and I'm like, yo, why am I like, you know, anxious, or why do I feel like uneasy and stuff? And I'm like, yo, like aside from your life and everything going on, whatever, like it's still a pandemic. Like we're still going through this. Like I remember when like in the beginning, it was so weird to me to see people with masks on. Like that shit freaked me out. And now it's like sometimes I have it on without even like realizing it.
Or I mean, so like now that, you know, here we don't have to wear them outside, I'm like, I'm still taking my shit with me. Like I'm not wearing it, but I'm gonna still bring it just in case. And before I used to forget it, and now it's like, no, like I cannot. It's like my phone. Like I can't leave my house without my phone. I can't leave my house without my mask. You know. And from the research that I found, I'm gonna briefly like mention some of the numbers that they said. They separated it into groups of people in society. So the first group, the patients. So we've heard a lot about the physical consequences that you have after having COVID, but the mental ones basically are that there's a very large number of people that after 90 days of being diagnosed with COVID have had anxiety, depression. They're saying that it's a very large number compared to other illnesses like influenza. Patients who were in the intensive care unit are more susceptible to having depression. So like people who were in ICU but still had COVID, the numbers like 28% versus people who were in intensive care, 38%. Other symptoms, confusion, insomnia, poor concentration, memory retention. The critically ill patients can even suffer from PTSD or post-intensive care syndrome, which is, this is a traumatic experience, you know, because especially like in a situation where there's a pandemic where you know that a lot of people are dying, when you're very sick, it's traumatizing because it's like, am I going to die? Like, am I going to be one of those numbers? That's why I hate when they talk so much about numbers. Like, it's not numbers, like it's people, you know what I mean? Like you say, oh, 200 deaths, and you're like, oh, 200, like, bro, that's 200 lives. That's a lot of people. Like that's a lot of people, you know what I mean? Then they mentioned, well, healthcare providers, we owe them everything. They did studies in Italy and China. 50% of healthcare providers suffer from PTSD, 25% depression, 20% anxiety. Like that, those are really 50% PTSD. That's a huge number. That's half of the people working.
That's so crazy.
If we look back in the pandemic, you know, there was a huge lack of resources. Remember when like it blew up in Italy and here in Spain? I remember. They didn't have anything. They didn't even have protection. So I remember looking in the news, like doctors saying, like, we're going to work and we don't know if we're bringing the virus back to our house, to our kids.
Yeah.
That level of anxiety and of
That's
uncertainty,
crazy.
that is
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
It's so sad. Like, and to think like, you know, a lot of people, like, because of this too, like I think like healthcare workers, it's taken away from, like, I mean, of course, like that was what they intended to do. Like, I'm intended to serve and like help people, but like if they can't even protect themselves
Yeah.
to be able to do their job, then like I don't even know. And like, yes, kudos to them. And I think that why we're mentioning like about all the mental health thing, like you said, like it's not something that's been like really, highlighted in the news, but like it's important. It's like dire for us to like actually acknowledge like, hey, I need to like sit back and like just the state of like the energy that like our world is in right now. It
Right
doesn't
now,
have to be a
yeah.
certain situation that's like making you anxious. It's like you could just be anxious because of like how everything is.
Yeah.
There's so much uncertainty in every aspect of our lives.
And that's the thing, like, for like an example is you heard of what happened in Miami, the building that
Oh yeah, that was
completely collapsed.
crazy. Yeah, yeah,
These
yeah.
past couple of days, I've felt like heavy hearted. And I was like, oh my God, like, why am I feeling, and it's because every time I go on Instagram or on my phone, like that's there. And like, you're aware that this happened and it's so tragic. Like, I'm speechless. The fact that happened,
Yeah.
it's a whole different topic, but it's what you're saying of like, even if it's not directly affecting you, it's something that's there and that it's
Mm-hmm.
there. You can
Mm-hmm.
sense that it's there. And the whole thing with the healthcare and the lack of resources, I did some research like at the beginning of the pandemic, and they were talking about in 2016 there had been a first strand of COVID. It wasn't the same strand as COVID now, but I can't remember exactly in what country it was, but the University of Cambridge started doing research for a vaccine for this COVID. The thing is that this strand of COVID, it didn't blow up. They were able to make it disappear before they finished creating the vaccine. Now, what happened was, because the strand of COVID disappeared, government stopped the funding for the vaccine and they weren't able to finish research on it. So
Yeah.
they said that when this happened, when this COVID happened, that even if it's a different kind of COVID, if they would have had a vaccine for that first strand, it wouldn't have taken as long for them to have a vaccine for this one. But because the funding stopped, we weren't able to have one as quickly. So it just goes to show how, like, yeah, we live in the first world, fortunately, Europe, the US, whatever. But it's like, why is our money going to things that are not as important? It's clearly public health. Like, we really thought that this could never happen to us. That's
Mm-hmm.
the issue. It's
No,
that's not going to happen. Like, this is Europe.
that's
This is
so
the US. This isn't going to
true.
happen to us. You know what I mean? Like, I even remember when it blew up in Spain, I had friends or people that I know in the US saying, like, oh, I don't think it's going to happen as bad here. And
Yeah.
literally a week later, it blew up over there. It's like we think that we're better,
Yeah.
we're above of these things,
Invincible in some
and
way,
we're not.
yeah. So yeah, we were like very like, oh, it's whatever. And I remember on Netflix they had like this thing about like the next
Explained.
pandemic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was like, yo, I didn't even watch that episode because I was like, oh my God, I didn't even want to think about something like that happening. Y mira, it was like a few months later, like
The thing is
pandemic.
too, like, if you look in history, like every couple hundred years, there's a
100?
pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true
You
too.
know,
Yeah.
and this is the thing too, and this is where I get anxious, and I don't like to think about it. Globalization as we know it today wasn't the same a couple hundred years ago, and pandemics still existed. Because
Mhm.
how do pandemics exist? Because people are going from one place to another internationally, blah blah blah. Now it's so easy to have access to all parts of the world. So I'm like, is this gonna happen again in 50 years? Like, is the
Is it gonna
speed
like
of
keep happening?
is it going to keep happening more often now that we're all more connected? Because before, if there was a strand of like an illness, it was easier to isolate it in the sense that not everyone had access to international travel.
Yeah.
Versus now we all do.
Yeah, we all can get around, like so
like
much easier.
you know, and I think about when we went to, you guys, oh my God, we went to Barcelona, Cassandra and I, oh mio, let me tell this story really quick. Oh, this girl and I remember perfectly. I remember perfectly at my job. Okay, I had a coworker of mine. He was British, and we were talking blah 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 about, you know, listening about Corona on the news. And he goes to me, he's like, I have a feeling, with a British accent, I don't know how to do it. He was like, I have a feeling it's gonna blow up here. And I was like, you think so? I'm like, I don't think so. I'm like, all the way from China. I was gonna say
All the way.
this guy was saying that, whatever, and this was like, Cass and I were going to Barcelona the weekend after this man and I were having this conversation. I wasn't giving a shit. I'm like, nah, we're gonna be fine, we're gonna have a great time, whatever. And we did. So we get to Barcelona, we're having the time of our life, we go out the first night, it was lit. But what happened was, I woke up the next morning sick. Yo, do you remember how sick I was? And it wasn't hungover sick, well, a little bit, but it was also like, I'm sick, I have a cold, and I was like,
you were weak.
Oh yeah, it was so freaking weird. And then the next night, we go out again, and I hung out with a group of Italians. I hung out with a group of Italians, and they were doctors, or they were in med school or something like that. And they were from Milan, which I think was like the first place.
The epicenter in Italy. Yep.
So when we're going back to Malaga on the airplane, there's a man sitting next to me wearing a mask, and I had to cough so bad and I could not hold it back. And I was like, damn, yo, I feel so bad right now. Like, this man's wearing a mask and I'm here sick, you know? And then I remember we got to our place, and that day I was in bed all day. Like, I felt so shitty. And till this day, I think I had COVID. And till this day, I don't know if that was COVID, because I think it was a week after or something that they declared a state of national emergency here.
Yeah.
So I should get
about
tested.
Like a week and a half or two.
Yeah. It was like, it wasn't the next weekend, but the weekend after. And Cass and I were like, deuces, like, we're out. We literally said we are out. So yeah, that was the last time I got in an airplane. That was the last. Yeah. That was the last time.
Thinking about it though, like how everything happened, like, us like quitting our jobs and stuff.
We should explain that. Hold on, because you're saying like go ahead, explain how it happened, Cass. How did we quit our jobs and abandoned our lives in one day?
Okay, so to make it long, I mean, it wasn't even a long story because it happened one day. So yeah, no, practically I had woken up to texts from friends like, hey, like they're closing the borders. In America.
I woke up to Gala. I woke up at like 3 a.m. to go to the bathroom, and Gala was like, bitch, Trump closed the border. And I was like, ay, Dios mío, let me tell Cassandra.
No, you were like, yo, I'm not going to tell her right now because I know she's leaving. Yeah. You're like, she's going to find out.
Yeah. I'm like, why stress you at 3 a.m.? You know, when I can stress you at 7, like, might as well wait.
So my friends were like, yo, this Friday they're closing the borders, like, whatever. And I'm like, what? Like, what's going on? So I was very like indecisive though. Like, I was like, I don't know like what to do. I don't know if I should quit. Like, but you were like, quit your job.
Because
that's it.
No, but this is why though. Because my mom, espérate. My mom to this day thinks that she predicted Corona. I'm like, mommy, you need to relax, bro. She's like, es que yo tenía un presentimiento that 2020 something bad was gonna happen. And I'm like, someone tell this lady that no.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
I can imagine your mom with this conviction, like she knew.
She is convinced that she knew that something was gonna happen. So when my parents live in Morocco, so my mom from Morocco was watching the news about what was going on in Spain. And she was telling me, you need to get out of there. Tell Cassandra to get out of there. La cosa está mala. And I'm like, oh my God. And then that's why I'm like, Cass, my mom is telling me. And if my mom is telling me, you know, it's true. My mom is telling me that we need to leave. Like right now.
Yeah, so I went to work, and also I was sad as hell. Like because honestly, I love that job. Yeah.
Work that day.
I did go because I still didn't know. And like, I worked early. I had like a 9 to 12, literally. So I was like, all right. Not even 9 to 12. I'll be home by 12. But like, right? So I was at work like sad because it's like, yo, I've spent these few months and like, I can't even say bye to these kids or like these teachers. Like, you know, like it's like so, and I had such a great time with them. Like I was literally like, oh my God, like I can't believe I'm gonna have to do this right now. Like I was really crying. But yeah, so I got home and then it was like, all right, pack, look for flights. Pack, look for flights. Like it was crazy. And let me just say, the prices of the flights,
insane. For a one way. Insane. Like over $1,000.
Yep. Over $1,000.
Over $1,000. I remember
at United.
Yeah, no, and I remember that we were like debating on if like you should like come to my house because we were living in Malaga, but like my hometown is like in a different region. So I was gonna drive back to my house and I was like, Cass, I'm like, maybe you should stay a couple days with me and then like go from there. Thank God, yo, that you left that Friday because they declared lockdown here the Saturday, like right after.
Yeah.
And I remember Gala got stuck in Spain. Like she had to fly through London to get to the US because there were no direct flights anymore to the States.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like I couldn't find anything. And I knew that like they were closing everything but London. And even though I was going to get there before the lockdown was like, you know, like started or whatever. I was like, no, but just in case, because, you know, I'd be always just in casing everything. So I was like, no, just in case I need to leave from London. Like, I need to come in from London. Like, and I found one freaking flight, like literally Friday morning, like the next day that morning.
Yeah, it was the day.
It was Thursday that we
it
were
was
like,
Thursday. Yeah, Thursday was that we were.
And then Friday I left.
Friday, super early in the morning. I'm going to get emotional. I still remember when I walked you downstairs, it was like, I don't know, early in the morning.
Yeah.
Gala was sleeping on our couch. And then I helped you with the luggage downstairs.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, see you later. And I haven't seen you since. And it's been like 2 years. Like, isn't that fucking crazy? What the fuck?
It has not been 2 years. It's been a year. Like,
no, it hasn't. Oh, wait, no, yeah, it has.
It's been like a year and like a few months.
No,
that's dramatic. No, you're right. It feels like 2 years.
Yeah, no, it's been I was like, damn, it was that long. Yeah, it's been like a year. But anyways, it was so bad. And you know, I want to say something too for those of you who told us you're so dramatic. No es pa tanto.
Yeah.
What now?
That guy at the convenience store that was like, oh, everybody's so dramatic, whatever. And me and you were like, we're leaving.
We went to a Chino, bro. We went to some Chino and the Chinos were already ready, bro. They already had their old plastic thing. And there was some guy in a robe trying to buy beer or something. And Cass and I were like, blah, 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 we're leaving. And he was like, oh, you're such a big... I had a couple of friends though also say like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, blah, 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 whatever. And then like, they declared lockdown.
It was.
You know, and I'm like, thank God that I didn't stay in Malaga because I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah.
I mean, my cousin lives, I would have probably just gone to my cousins or something, but you know, like because Spain was on lockdown for 3 months. Like we could not travel within regions unless it was like an emergency or something. It was really, really bad over here for a really long time. Like I remember the first time I ever left my house was almost 3 months after they declared lockdown. Like I did not leave my house for 3. I'm grateful enough that I live in a pretty large house. So like, it didn't feel like, I feel like if I would have been in an apartment, it would have felt completely different.
Yeah.
But I had the worst anxiety. I was so nervous at the grocery store because I was like, I don't know what's allowed and what's not allowed. Like, do I have to keep my gloves on? Like, it was just here. It was just so strict.
You washed everything when you went home.
Dude, and now, like, don't get me wrong. I'm very mindful. I've always been mindful about washing my hands. I don't know about y'all, but you know what I'm saying? But my mom still though, like she will disinfect the bags, like everything. She'll be like, no toques nada, like until I don't disinfect everything. I'm just like, oh my God, like what about your shoes? No, for real though, what about your shoes?
Yeah. I mean, I usually just leave them at the door. Is COVID on the floor?
I don't know, but like, I don't think that you can like how is it gonna get all the way up here?
It's gonna fucking come off. Oh shit.
But But yeah, and then that's the thing. Like I remember, like in Miami. Oh, espérate, we have like we did a little poll.
Oh yes, I want to talk about that.
We did a little poll, so let's go through the answers. Let's just keep it anonymously.
Yeah,
but
sure.
The first answer I have here
anonymous.
says, sorry, I don't know. Oh, because we asked about like how was your life after restrictions were lifted? Like how'd you feel? And the first answer was, sorry, I don't know what restrictions you're talking about. I live in Miami. All right, so hold on. I need to address this because I have to say that y'all in the 305 are something else, dog. Like, I'm speechless. People have
what does the heat do to them?
Clubbing. People have been going out clubbing to bars, like
since
restrictions
before.
where? Restrictions where? So I want to say, like, even if restrictions aren't there, the virus is. Like, just because everyone's going out and doing all this shit doesn't mean that everything is fine, because us as humans, we act literally, psychologically, biologically, we do what everyone around us does. So if everyone is acting as if everything's okay, we're like, everything must be okay. And that's what's been happening in Miami. And then people from other states coming down there, because in their states there were restrictions and they knew that down there there wasn't anything, you know.
Yo, spring break,
wild ride. Yeah, spring
break out there. Like I didn't even touch South Beach. We were just like, nah, we'll go to North. Yeah, we went to North Beach. We were just like, we're gonna chill, just us there. No, it was really crazy. They had to bring like police from like Orlando and stuff to like help.
I saw on the news crazy. And then like the number of COVID cases after they did like the number
skyrocketed, right?
Crazy.
So, all right. Yeah. So another one, it was like, oh, free. I was responsible and got myself vaccinated. So I'm vaxxed and waxed, honey. Yes. That's what I like.
That's literally the summer slogan.
Summer
Vax and waxed. I'm ready for anything that comes my way. But yeah, that's the thing. Like she said, I was responsible, because at the end of the day, this isn't about you. It's about others as well. So be responsible. And if you're against vaccines, this is my thing, yo. If you're against vaccines and you don't want to get vaccinated, fine. But wear a mask, bro. And I know people, and I'm maybe going to get hate for this, and I really don't care because I'm very strong-minded about it. You should wear a mask. Like, for those who say, no, the virus is it's a hoax. Okay, tell that to the people who lost family members. Why don't you tell that to the people that lost family members? Because I think that's so disrespectful for people to say shit like that. Yeah. You know?
I don't get that. Like, how is it a hoax? Like, how do these people die then? Like, what?
And then let me say something.
They thought about it.
I find it very ironic how some politicians encourage you. They believe that you don't need to wear a mask. Yada yada yada. They encourage for people to have their kids go back to school, but then their kids are still being homeschooled. And it's just like, isn't that an interesting one? If you're so sure that everything's fine, why don't you take your kids back to school?
Yeah, that's true.
So there's my shade. Anyways, then we have someone who said they don't want to go out. Now my question is this because of COVID or just in general? Because it could be just you don't want to socialize, you know, like F people.
Yeah.
Could also
I think that like it's because of like the pandemic and how we've been, and like just I don't know, it is weird talking to people. Sometimes it's like you see people's faces and you're just like, it like takes you back to see someone's face because you're so used to just like masks, you know, all the time.
You know, I'm like antisocial a little bit now. I do see it. I don't know. Okay, hold on. I don't know if it's because like I'm here or it just like I'm antisocial in general. But I do definitely feel like before I was more like, oh, I'll talk to anyone. And even like dating or like guys or whatever, I had a guy on my birthday tell me, oh, I didn't tell you this. I'm going to tell everyone now, but I'm not going to say who it is. I had a guy here in Spain tell me like, oh, happy birthday. Now that people are going out more, like we should see each other. And I was like, where you been? And with who? You feel me? Like I'm trying to like, you know,
your test result. Full panel.
Like, have you got it vaccinated? Like, what's the situation that you have going on right now?
Yeah.
Versus, obviously, before that's not something that would even cross my mind, you know. But now it's something you have to think of.
Yeah, which also brings me to like another poll answer. It's like anxious. I've become more of an introvert after quarantine, which is what we're seeing. It's like now we're a little bit more like, I don't know, like or like it's like I'll go out, but I just stick talking to the people that I go out with. Like I don't really venture out or like try to talk to anybody else. And yeah, like sometimes I'll be going to like Trader Joe's, for example, and it'd be packed in there. And I remember this was like before the vaccine started coming out, and it was like it would be packed, even like with them controlling people. And people just be getting in your way, and like I hate that. Like I'm just like I will literally stand there, and I'm like, I hope you can feel my frustration for me just standing here and looking at you. Like,
yeah,
let me get my stuff.
I get that, because that's the thing too, like some like, and you know, one thing that I also said that happened here, because you know, again, when everything was really bad here at first, and everyone was on lockdown, every single day at 8 p.m. everyone would go on their balconies or windows, and they would have like a round of applause for the health care workers, whatever. The hypocrisy, because all those same people give two shits about restrictions now. You get what I'm saying? Like, it just, that's just what bothers me. Like, don't be such a hypocrite to like, you know, be all supportive and I care so much. And then the moment that they give you, like, are we children? That's my question. That the moment that they give you the slightest amount of freedom, you don't know what to do with it and you go crazy. Like people throwing here illegal parties at home with like 50 people. Bro, you know how Spain is, man. People don't know how to freaking relax. Like, can you just not party for a couple months? Like, is that hard?
And it's crazy because it's like now I feel like people party more. Like they party harder than before the pandemic.
Ready, yo. People are ready. Dude, this is the thing. Imagine like, because here you can drink after 18. So I'm like, imagine like your first years of college. There's a freaking pandemic.
Yo, or like imagine, I think honestly, if I was a senior in high school and like that, my prom,
no prom, nothing, yo.
my dress, my freaking graduation, no graduation, and also like seniors in college, that's yo, literally heartbreaking, yo, like heartbreaking. And
it's yeah. Or even, dude, like there's just so many situations that you can think of. Long distance relationships that they haven't been able to see each other in like a really long time. Women who have been having to give birth without family members in the room because of the pandemic. Like, you know, or like going to revision. Like I have a friend, she every time that she would go get the revision done, her boyfriend could not come in the room because of COVID restrictions. Like it's been, and you know, when people say post-pandemic, it's not post-pandemic yet. This shit has not ended. You know. We still have a far way to go. More people need to get vaccinated. I'm sure that the research with the vaccines will continue, obviously. We don't know how much longer it's going to go, but what I will say is, if I had to choose a moment in time where I wanted to live this, it would be today, because the scientific advances that we have, the access to being able to communicate with our friends and family members through FaceTime, through, you know, whatever, that shit did not exist 50 years ago. So we need to be more than grateful that we're being forced, obviously, unfortunately, to live a situation that's very shitty, but we're living it in times where it's more bearable than others.
And on also like on that note, we also have to appreciate the fact that like I think as a society we've like become more conscious of the importance of our mental health and how it affects not just our lives emotionally or mentally, but also physically. So I think that it's important to like, hey, like, you know, if you're feeling anxious or you're feeling overwhelmed, whatever the case is, like that's okay. Come back to your breath, you know, just take a moment, you know, to take a few breaths and just really be mindful and then be grateful. Like just think of what you can be grateful in that moment, because really like
one thing that has worked for me a lot besides exercise, because you know, like they always say, like, and it's true, with anxiety, exercise helps a lot. Writing down like affirmations, like, you know, like I'm healthy, I have a home, I have a loving family, like just whatever it is in your life that you're grateful for, remind yourself that it's there. Don't take it for granted. Because really, like, the sense of peace that you're going to find in the little things in your life, you're not going to find in anything else. So right now, there's a lot of uncertainty in a lot of aspects of everyone's life, but try to focus on the things that you're certain about. And that's the love of your loved ones. Wow, look at me being intensa because I'm a Cancer. But anyways, all right. So I think we
wrap up the show.
We're back, and we have for future episodes, Cass and I have been talking about doing something a little different, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
so stay tuned.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
join us. All right. Well,
peace out.